And today, Bramwell Mayor Don Murphy was doing his own damage control after firefighters raised concerns that at times they didn't have enough water pressure yesterday.
Well, to my knowledge, there wasn't any lack of water.
But that's not what Bramwell's volunteer firefighters told us yesterday.
And we're having trouble keeping water pressure built up in order to get water down this far.
Didn't have enough water pressure. We still don't have enough water pressure.
I can't control what he says either. But being an observer on the scene 3 different times, I didn't see a lack of pressure or water.
To me, if you weren't there fighting the fire and handling the hoses and doing that, could you really make an accurate statement?
I said I was on the scene 3 different times. I did not observe this.
Bramwell's firefighters weren't the only ones complaining. A Bluewell firefighter today told us water pressure was definitely a problem and told us they couldn't even get water out of one of the hydrants. And there's the question of this videotape we took yesterday.
No water.
Water pressure problems or not, firefighters and the mayor agree on one thing: the houses were too far gone by the time crews arrived for them to have much of an impact. But it does raise questions about what will happen the next time.
I think we have ample water. We could use a lot more.
Divers are familiar with this stretch of the New River. They were here about a month ago on another drowning case. Tonight they're looking for what may be 2 victims. Witnesses say they saw 2 men swimming below Sandstone Falls around 5 tonight. They saw them go through what's known as Tahiti Falls shortly after. They didn't resurface, and the witnesses called authorities.
Where it really is kind of a shot in the dark type thing. They do have lights that they're able to see down into the water, and they're pretty much scoping out the area directly below the rapid where it's likely that they would float out if they were in there.
With witnesses who saw the 2 men enter the rapids and fishermen downstream who didn't see the swimmers emerge, some have little hope the men are alive. A tow truck hauled off what some sources claim was their truck, a Chevrolet pickup with North Carolina license plates. Meantime, divers are searching the river's cool waters, searching for anything they can find, even an article of clothing. They say they may be out all night. It looks like the after effects of a small earthquake, 18-inch rock foundations cracking roads. In other places, asphalt buckling. This metal grate used to be flush with the driveway, and just a few weeks ago, this sidewalk was flat. There are 6 homes along this mine that have seen damage in the past few weeks, and homeowners say the damage continues even today. What's causing it? Officially, no one knows for sure, but these homes are located next to a coal mine, and most think that's the culprit. Doug Abel is a carpenter, and he's been working overtime just to keep up with the damage.
I'm just trying to keep the doors open and the sewage lines running, or anything that needs to be done to make these people comfortable right now.
Who's paying you to do all this work?
Rusty Skews, the man that owns the mines.
Whether the mine owner will accept full responsibility is still a mystery. A geologist from WVU is looking into the problem. Homeowners are waiting for his final report. But the destruction won't wait. Abel says he's noticing more damage every day, and there's growing concern it will be only a matter of days before some of these homes become unlivable. In McDowell County, Loretta Budd, News Center 6.
Center 6, tonight.
Good evening. President Clinton has won a partial victory in a sexual harassment lawsuit. A federal judge ruled today that Paula Jones' suit against Clinton will not go to trial until he's out of office. U.S. District Court Judge Susan Wright says there's no urgency in the case. She says Jones filed suit just 2 days before the statute of limitations ran out. Still, Jones' attorney says the proceedings will go on.
Well, I think the court obviously the president.
Jones is a former Arkansas state employee. She's accused Clinton of making unwanted sexual overtures to her in 1991 when he was governor. And the director of the CIA today announced his resignation. James Woolsey says it's time to compensate his family for many lost evenings, weekends, and holidays. Woolsey's resignation makes no mention of the Aldrich Ames case. Ames is the U.S. intelligence officer who spied for years for Moscow. Some members of Congress have sharply attacked Woolsey for not taking stronger disciplinary action against CIA officials in the wake of the scandal. Woolsey says he's available to stay on the job through January. A 30-car pileup on Interstate 5 in California today in Tejon Pass. The accident happened around 12:30 Pacific time. Police say 30 cars and trucks were involved after stormy weather moved through, including dense fog and rain. Interstate 5 is one of California's major north-south routes for motorists and truck traffic. The area where the accidents happened is very mountainous. Witnesses say the fog was so thick they couldn't see 150 feet in front of them. An Army pilot whose helicopter went down over North Korea has been laid to rest. David Heilman was buried with military honors near Gig Harbor, Washington. Meanwhile, Heilman's co-pilot, Bobby Hall, is still being held captive in North Korea. And today, word from the communist country that Hall has confessed that he and Heilman were on a reconnaissance flight when their helicopter illegally crossed into North Korean airspace and was shot down. However, the U.S. State Department is denying that the helicopter was on any kind of spy mission. Well, nearly an entire family was wiped out Monday night in Arizona when 10 people died in a tragic car accident near Tuba City. The family was returning to their reservation from a 3-day Christmas visit. The accidents had a huge impact on many people, including the family's small hometown.
That's our loved ones, but it hurts.
Well, now here's Stan with a quick word on the weather tonight. What's up, Stan?
Well, it'd be another night like...
And coming up on the news, what apparently was a childhood dare took one young boy's life. More on that next. A teenager who allegedly shot another teen over his girlfriend is going to be tried as an adult. Summers County Judge Robert Irons has sent his decision to the state Supreme Court for a final ruling. The 15-year-old Beckley teen is charged with the September shooting of 15-year-old Jeffrey Allen Poole, also of Beckley. The two teens were at the girls' Hinton residence when the shooting occurred. The juvenile shot 4 times at Poole, twice in the chest, twice in the arm, according to police. With County residents are burning mad over plans to build Virginia's first privately owned prison in their hometown. Those opposed to the prison say they aren't backing down. 1,100 residents have signed a petition and sent it on to Governor George Allen expressing their opposition. Citizens are concerned about what a prison will do to the town's reputation, saying they don't want to be known as a prison town. Also, residents say they don't want families to move to the area and burden local social service agencies. It's only days away till Mercer County's new E911 system goes into effect. The state-of-the-art system is designed to help crime fighting and help save lives. But before it can work, the county needs your help to make it as effective as possible.
911, what is your emergency?
That's what you'll hear in the next few days if you dial 911 in Mercer County. Dispatchers are being trained right now to handle all types of calls and all types of new computer equipment that will help them send out emergency help faster than ever. And this is one of the most important new improvements. When you call an emergency in, a computer automatically displays your phone number and address. We gave it a test run today. Within a second, WVVA's address and phone number popped up on the screen. Dispatchers say this feature alone can be a lifesaver.
Especially on domestic violences where they were fighting. A lot of times husband or wife would jerk the phone out of the wall. You didn't know where it was coming from.
But now you'll know.
Now we'll know. There will be no question of where it's coming from, phone number and name.
There are also provisions to handle calls for those who are hearing impaired.
We have a machine here that we refer to as a TDD machine. And those people who have that kind of equipment on their telephones will be able to communicate with us when they need assistance.
Starting January 9th, every law enforcement agency, ambulance service, and fire department will be online. There are 24 agencies in all. Right now, the city of Bluefield is the only locality with total 911 service, but starting January 9th, no matter where you live in Mercer County, you'll be able to dial in. Well, New Year's Eve weekend is just a few days away now, and Virginia State Police is reminding those that take to the roadways about a new DUI law. Starting January 1st, Virginia police say the new law will revoke driving privileges to those motorists who test above the legal blood alcohol limit or who refuse to take a breathalyzer test. Police say more than 12,000 people are arrested every year for alcohol-related driving offenses. The new law is intended to let people know driving under the influence is not acceptable in Virginia. A friend and barber of former presidents has died. Milton Pitts cut the hair of 4 U.S. presidents, including Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, and George Bush. As Jeff Atkinson reports, the barber will not only be missed for his great haircuts, but for his sense of humor as well.
Jess Atkinson, NBC News.
It looks like a youthful dare may have cost one child his life. A 7-year-old boy in Rochester, New York, drowned. Relatives of the boy say his friends urged him to go out onto a frozen pond. Investigators say the boy ventured out onto the ice, then began jumping up and down. The ice broke moments later, and the boy plunged into the freezing waters. It was 15 minutes later or so before firefighters could even get him out. The 7-year-old boy died last night of severe hypothermia. Epilepsy patients whose medicine isn't working well enough now have another alternative. The Food and Drug Administration has approved a new drug to help control epileptic seizures. The drug, lamotrigine, is sold under the brand name Lamictal. It's used along with other drugs to control partial seizures in adults. The drug's maker says clinical trials of more than 3,000 patients found the drug helped more than 65% of those patients. And doctors are experimenting with a new technique to help repair weak areas in the heart. They insert a cloth-covered mesh tube to repair aneurysms in the aorta. These weaknesses are fatal if they burst. Doctors at Stanford insert the tube into the groin, then push it all the way up into place in the chest. The new procedure cuts recovery time to a few weeks. After traditional surgery, patients need several months to recover. A Bluefield, Virginia man may have a cure for his cancer, but like many patients with serious diseases, money is now a major factor, as Susan Pavley reports.
3 years ago, 40s in Pavley, News Center 6.
And if you'd like to help out, call the First Union National Bank of Virginia. We'll be right back with Stan's forecast. Stay tuned. Pretty cold night out there, but we don't mind it if it's going to be so mild during the day.
Well, we'll still have a fairly decent day tomorrow, you know. It'll still be above average,
Okay.
about 5 to 10 degrees.
But the winter stuff's coming though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know the skiing fanatics are looking for it.
We got a little breath of cold air coming at us there.
Okay.
Tell you about it in a moment. First, let's take a look and see what's going on right now. Jet stream stays along the coast. It'll bring snow. If the jet stream pushes this low on out to sea, well, we won't have it. Okay.
Looks like those sleds may see some action there, right?
It's possible.
Thanks, Dan. Well, coming up next in sports, a champion is crowned at the WJLS tournament in Beckley tonight. And in Shreveport, Louisiana, 18th ranked Virginia looks to stop the postseason losing streak. Woody?
And it's good news for the Cavs and all their fans. We'll get to high.
Virginia duking it out with the Horned Frogs. It's such a strange mascot. Go Horned Frogs.
It's a strange mascot, and it's also probably a strange school down there in Texas. You know, those Texas people are.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well.
The 18th ranked Virginia Cavaliers and the Horned Frogs of TCU. And of course, they'll have that home field advantage next year.
Okay, thanks, Woody. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Some college kids drop out when they get bored. Some change their surroundings.
This is Virginia Tech in Switzerland.
And that was the perspective of some Virginia Tech students, reported by Anna Cadet. That's the news for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night.